The distress beacon pierced through the void like a scream, its electromagnetic pulse carrying the unmistakable signature of a Valorian nursery pod. Commander Anna Chen's fingers flew across the holographic interface of the Meridian Explorer, her heart rate spiking as the translation algorithms parsed the alien message. "Kivin, get up here, now." Her co-pilot stumbled onto the bridge, still rubbing sleep from his eyes. Kivin Amar had been her partner for 3 years of deep space exploration, and she'd never heard that particular edge in her own voice before. "What's wrong?" he asked, sliding into his seat. "Valorian distress call. Life support failure on a transport vessel. They're requesting immediate assistance." Anna's brown eyes met his darker ones. "Kivin, there are infants aboard." The Valorians were humanity's most recent contact in this sector, a crystalline-based species whose children required precise atmospheric conditions to survive. Their young were notoriously fragile, requiring a specific mixture of gases and temperature regulation that human technology had only recently been able to replicate in diplomatic settings. "ETA," Kivin's voice was clipped professional. 42 minutes at maximum burn, but according to their telemetry, Anna's voice caught. Their environmental systems failed 17 minutes ago. Valorian infants can't survive more than 30 minutes in standard oxygen-nitrogen atmosphere. Kivin's hands were already plotting the intercept course, so we'll be 9 minutes too late. "Yes." The word hung between them like a death sentence. They both knew the statistics. Humanity had been exploring this region for only 6 years. Relations with the Valorians were delicate, built on careful diplomatic protocols and mutual scientific exchange. The loss of Valorian children would be catastrophic, not just for the families involved, but potentially for the entire human-Valorian alliance. "We still have to try," Anna said, engaging the fusion drives. The Meridian Explorer lurched forward, its inertial dampeners struggling to compensate for the sudden acceleration. The next 42 minutes felt like hours. Anna monitored the Valorian vessel's vital signs while Kivin prepared their emergency equipment. The transport ship, designated Crystalline Dawn, had been en route from the Valorian homeworld to a colony outpost. 17 infants aboard. 17 small lives that would almost certainly be extinguished before help could arrive. Anna had seen death before. Space exploration demanded a certain acceptance of mortality, but children were different. Children were always different. 30 seconds to intercept, Kivin announced. The Crystalline Dawn materialized on their view screen, an elegant vessel of geometric precision, its surface reflecting starlight like a prism. Beautiful, silent, probably a tomb. "No response to hails," Anna reported. "Docking sequence initiated." The magnetic clamps engaged with a metallic thunk that resonated through the hull. Anna and Kivin moved with practiced efficiency, donning their EVA suits and checking the portable atmospheric generators they'd hastily configured to Valorian specifications. "These units are untested," Kivin warned. "We built them from theoretical specs." "I know," Anna sealed her helmet. "It's all we've got." The airlock cycled. Beyond lay a corridor of crystalline architecture, beautiful even in crisis. Emergency lighting cast prismatic shadows across the walls. Anna's suit sensors detected trace amounts of silicon dioxide in the air, the Valorian equivalent of blood. Someone had been injured, possibly killed, when the systems failed. They found the first adult Valorian in the control room, its crystalline body fractured and dark. Dead. Anna's translator picked up the faint chemical signature of despair that lingered in the air. "The nursery is this way," Kivin said, following the ship's emergency markers. They ran. Time had already run out, but they ran anyway. The nursery door was sealed, its emergency protocols engaged. Through the transparent portal, Anna could see the terrible truth of their failure. 17 small forms lay in crystalline cradles, their bodies dulled to an opaque gray that signified death in Valorian physiology. The room's atmosphere read as completely incompatible with Valorian infant survival. Too much oxygen, wrong pressure, temperature fluctuating wildly. Anna, Kivend's voice was thick with grief. But Anna had stopped listening, because in the center of the nursery, sitting cross-legged on the floor with his EVA suit torn and venting atmosphere, was a human. A human who shouldn't have been there. The man's face was visible through his cracked helmet, early 30s, dark hair, skin flushed from hypoxia. His suit's life support was clearly failing, but that wasn't what made Anna's breath catch. In his arms, cradled against his chest, were 3 Valorian infants. Their crystalline bodies gleamed with the faint iridescence of life. "Oh my God," Kivend whispered. The man looked up as they entered, his eyes unfocused but aware. "Took you long enough." His voice rasped through the damaged comm system. Anna rushed forward, her medical scanner already active. The readings were impossible. The Valorian infants in his arms showed stable vital signs, but more than that, she could see movement throughout the room. Not all 17 had survived, but as her eyes adjusted to the dimness, she counted 13 small forms that still glowed with life. "How?" she demanded. The man coughed, blood speckling the inside of his helmet. "Bioengineering, contractor, was installing new environmental systems." Each word was a struggle. "System crash, adults died fast. I got most of the bobbies into the safe room, but 4 were too small, wouldn't survive even there." He looked down at the 3 infants nestled against him, then gestured weakly to the corner where Anna now saw a 4th small form, also gleaming with life, wrapped in what looked like the thermal lining from an emergency blanket. "Your suit is breached," Kivend said, moving to help. "You should be dead." A pained smile crossed the man's face. "Probably, in a few minutes, but I had to regulate their temperature, my body heat, only thing close enough to what they needed." Anna understood with sudden, horrifying clarity. The man had deliberately breached his own suit, exposing himself to the deadly atmosphere, to create a microenvironment using his own body heat and the residual atmospheric controls he could maintain through proximity. He'd been slowly suffocating, possibly for nearly an hour, keeping these children alive through sheer force of will and desperate improvisation. "Kivend, get the portable environment generator working." "Now," Anna barked, already reaching for the infants, but the man's arms tightened protectively. "Temperature shock will kill them, need gradual." He was right. Anna's hands trembled as she adjusted her approach, carefully maintaining skin contact with each infant as she transferred them to Kivend's modified atmospheric chamber. Each tiny crystalline body pulsed with a heartbeat, a rhythm alien yet unmistakably alive. "The others?" Anna asked. "Safe room, environmental controls, limited but stable. They'll make it." The man's eyes were starting to glaze. "These 4 needed more, thought I could, until you arrived." Anna lifted the 4th infant from its improvised blanket, marveling at its delicate structure. Through her gloves, she could feel it vibrating, the Valorian equivalent of breathing. "What's your name?" Kivend asked, working to stabilize the infants. "Marcus Reeves." The man slumped back against the wall. "Tell their families I tried, tell them." "Tell them yourself," Anna said fiercely, already administering oxygen and emergency medical compounds. "You're not dying today, Marcus Reeves." But even as she worked, she knew the odds. His exposure time had been catastrophic. Multiple organ systems were failing. By every medical standard, he should have already been dead. "Why?" Kivend asked quietly. "Why sacrifice yourself?" Marcus's eyes focused one last time, clear and certain. "Because they're children, and I'm not." 3 weeks later, Anna stood in the Valorian diplomatic chamber, watching as 13 crystalline infants, now healthy and thriving, were reunited with their families. The chamber rang with harmonic frequencies of joy, gratitude, and grief for the 4 who hadn't survived and the 2 adults who'd perished when the systems failed. Marcus Reeves stood beside her, still weak but alive. Human medical technology, combined with desperate Valorian intervention, had pulled him back from the edge. He'd spent 2 weeks in an induced coma while his body healed from the massive trauma. The Valorian elder approached, its crystalline form refracting the chamber's light into rainbow patterns. Through the translator, its words were simple but profound. "You expected to find our children dead. Instead, you found a human who would not let them die. This changes everything we thought we knew about your species." Anna felt Kiven's presence at her shoulder, solid and supporting. She thought about the 9 minutes that should have been too late, about the impossible choices Marcus had made, about the children who lived because one human refused to accept the inevitable. "No," she said quietly, "this is exactly who we are. This is exactly who we've always been. Human, fallible, stubborn, unwilling to surrender even when logic demanded it. And sometimes, just sometimes, that was enough."